out. Salute to everybody in here salute everybody watching on Twitter and on Facebook and everywhere else I'm streaming. What's up, everybody? Welcome back if YouTube kicks you out for no goddamn reason. Yeah, I'd come on a few minutes late because I had to change some shit. I still got a new update, and my audio was about to be trash. So right before I hit live, I was like, I should have to update my the driver for my mic. So we got my mic working. I'm not silent with them stupid ass computer speakers. Computer speakers sound like pots and pans. But let's get started. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining in the chat. Thank y'all for joining. Where's my... Here we go. I be forgetting to put my beard oil on, man. But anyway, the Real Housewives of Sports Talk. I've been saying this forever. Those of you who've been watching my show for a long time, y'all know I've been saying this. I stopped watching First Take and those type shows back in 2011, 12. Because it ain't nothing but male gossip. It ain't nothing but male gossip. Yeah, salute to Rocky. He over here licking his paw. But, yeah, those shows are nothing but male gossip. So what we going to do today is we're going to talk about them shows. But we're really going to talk about the psychology behind those shows. And we're going to talk about the end result. What kind of society shows like First Take and these ESPN male gossip shows, what they have done. Because Michelle Obama was right. We're going to play her clip. But look at, this is a tweet that I put. This is a Facebook post I put up back in 2016. Men that watch ESPN and those sports gossip shows all day are no different than the women that watch The View, The Real, and those housewife shows. It's all the same shit. Meaningless gossip about a bunch of shit that has no effect on your daily life. Create a dumbed down conversation about nothing is what they do. I missed the days ESPN hosted tree trapping contests and bass fishing. On the talk show was Rory Firestone and Bob Lee. They actually talked the game. First Take around the horn and started male sports gossip TV. That's what it is. And look, I'm not judging you if you watch it. I'm not judging you. You just got to understand it's the same. I wrote that post as I watched the Housewives of Atlanta. Because 2016, that was around the time I got into the Housewives of Atlanta. Man, I love that goddamn show. Although I didn't see the reunion show yet. I got the reunion show on my DVR, on my TiVo. Got to go back and watch it. The last 2 episodes. I saw the first episode. Drew ain't shit. But look, I admit it. I know the Housewives ain't shit. But it's an hour of comedy with women with big booties. And I'd rather watch women that used to be pretty. Well, they used to be pretty. Now, they still kind of pretty, but they all nipped and tucked now. They used to be naturally pretty back in the day. At least I'm honest about it. Yeah, I want to watch an hour of fuckery. I want to watch an hour of mostly pretty women with big booties cracking on each other. Hell yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I ain't judging you if you watch these housewives sports shows. I'm not judging you. But we got to call a spade a spade. And the end result is 20 years of these housewives sports shows, you can no longer get a decent conversation about sports. If you say something somebody else don't like, then you're hating. You know? You can only argue two players as a GOAT. If you argue anybody outside of Jordan and LeBron, then something's wrong with you. A whole bunch of bullshit. Men can't even have conversations about sports anymore because of these socially engineered type shows. This guy said, "Oh, Dewan, it's first off, spell my name right. You sound a little bit soft. It's the people who can't spell names that are right in front of them that will say something like this." Okay? Always remember that. Always remember that. I'll never apologize for having a good time entertaining myself watching black women with big booties crack jokes on each other. That's funny as hell. Well, you want me to sit there with the fellas and argue with another musty nigga over who's the greatest of all time? All right, yeah. Okay. I'll take mingling with women and watching that over arguing with a musty nigga that don't even know stats, argue about stats all day. I promise you, you got it. But please, if a name is right in front of you in two places, my name is right here and it's right down over there. Oh, three places, another place. The least you can do is spell it right. Now, let's get into what Michelle Obama had to say. And then we're going to go. This was funny as hell. Oh, shit, damn, I had this Mac update and my Stream Deck is down. Damn it, that was one more thing I should have updated. Oh, well, I'll do the old school way. Hold on, let me. Okay, it's back up. Listen to what, and I usually don't agree with Michelle Obama. I usually do not agree with her. She annoys me. Michelle Obama is generally very annoying to me. But listen to what she had to say.
I mean, it's the same drama. If I listen to ESPN for an hour, it's like watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's the same drama and they're yelling at each other and they don't get along. Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other talk show host.
Real housewife.
He would be. right.
It would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference? It's just, it's just sociological drama. If I listen to
Stephen A. Smith got to feel like a whole ass. He got the former first lady and three gay dudes sitting around calling him a housewife. Yeah, Stephen A., you are a housewife. Yes, you are. And if I was going to call you which housewife, you probably Kenya, because you always starting shit and then playing the victim. That's what I'm going to call. That's who you are, Stephen A. You Kenya. You Kenya. Housewife ass nigga. Because this is what they do. I'm going to play it again. This is what they do. Let me play this video again, then I'm going to give you an example.
ESPN for an hour, it's like watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's the same drama and they're yelling at each other and they don't get along. Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other talk show host.
Real housewife.
He would be. right.
It would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference? It's just, it's just sociological drama.
That was a perfect way to put it, Michelle. Sociological drama. That's what the sports shows are. What they do, let me show you here. What they do is, and I know people who've been on First Take, all right? what they do is the producers give the talent, the on-air talent subjects, and you are to take one person, and there's a gentleman's agreement. One side takes the pro, the other takes the con. One takes the pro, one takes the con. And what they do is they go back and forth and they argue. Nobody is to introduce anything new to the conversation. If they're having a conversation on the GOAT debate, you could say Jordan, you could say LeBron, and if it's at least four people on the panel, they may allow one to bring up Kobe or Kareem, maybe. Kareem has forced himself into the conversation through the Twitter generation, because before Twitter, they wouldn't even bring up Kareem. They won't allow somebody to come in and say, what about Isaiah Thomas? Because you can make a strong argument for Isaiah Thomas. You can make a strong argument for Magic. You can make a strong argument for Bill Russell. And they don't have those type of fruitful conversations. They have you argue. They have you battle. And then Stephen A. Smith goes off like a broad most of the time. Look.
Men all the time. Now we got to sit up here and watch it. We're talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that. And I'll leave it at that.
All the time, there you go. That's just one example. He's always
welcome to the world of being
arguing.
The one team that really has me concerned right now is them damn Boston Celtics. Because I believe Boston Celtics and that matchup against Golden State, that's a tough damn match.
Look at the aesthetic. They got dudes in suits arguing like this is some real life shit.
Don't deny that.
Wait, so first off,
the New York Daily News?
No, but
that's not going to happen.
We put a different kind of onus on our athletes than we do, and you made mention of that on your podcast.
I don't deny that.
Wait, so first off, I'm not the one.
I don't deny that.
I'm being sensitive.
I don't deny that.
But you're the one that seemed very emotional.
Oh my God.
In the subject matter, Stephen A.
Go ahead, Jay.
Come on, man.
Go ahead, Jay.
Come on, man.
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm not sitting up here on national TV absolving Kyrie Irving of every decision. I'm not going back and reaccounting every decision. I'm just saying how it's interesting to me. It just carries such a bigger momentum. In particular,
look at that. He looked like Nene Leakes. What's her name? Nene? I started watching after Nene left the show. I wasn't watching the show when she was still on it. What's her name? Nene Leakes?
Surmountable task. I'm saying it's made more difficult with Zach Martin missing. Are you saying it's not made more difficult, or are you saying, it shouldn't be made more difficult? This is one of the greatest guards in the National Football League.
I want you to calm down because I don't want you sweating too much having a
No,
I need you to be cool.
You see here, for those of you who don't watch the show, that's why I had to stop watching. It's a whole bunch of male gossip. And then what they do is they get into these people's personal lives, you know? It's all orchestrated and it's all loud, organized confusion. And it's no different than the Housewives of Atlanta. What's the result of this? What is the result? He said the thumbnail is diabolical. What's up, Ben Frank? But what's the result? 20 years of sports debate shows, 20 sports gossip shows. Let's look at how effective Disney has been in social engineering the sports fan. What's the only sport people argue every single day over who the GOAT is? Out of the three major sports, basketball, football, baseball. Well, yeah, let's throw in all the sports. Let's throw in NASCAR. Let's throw in. What's the one sport that people argue tirelessly about who the GOAT is? Basketball. Basketball. Look at this. I just asked ChatGPT a question. The estimated segments that ESPN dedicates, or First Take dedicates, to some version of GOAT debates, either directly or indirectly, comparing LeBron versus Jordan, LeBron's legacy, 10 to 15%. Mount Rushmore, 5 to 10%. Indirect GOAT topics, MVP playoff success. So this shows about a quarter of the time that they're talking all sports. Mind you, there are a lot of sports to cover. There's hockey to cover. There's baseball to cover. There's boxing. There's MMA. Basketball, football. And then within basketball, there's a lot of diversity of topics. Within football, there's a lot of diversity of topics. Golf, tennis. A quarter of that time is spent. A quarter of that time is spent talking about who the GOAT is. So what do you see when you go on Twitter, when you go on your Facebook page, Reddit, sports blogs, when people talk basketball, what's the thing that they're going to talk? Who's the GOAT, right? Right? Back in the 90s, before these socially engineered shows, this is for all you cats that are under 30. I want y'all to shut up and pay attention. Because it be the cats that under 30 that be wanting to argue the hardest. For those of you under 30, back in the 90s, the conversation around sports was who had the best crossover. Marbury or Iverson. But the UTEP two-step was it. Isaiah Thomas, Rod Strickland. We talked about who dunked on who last night. Did you see Sean Kemp dunk on Derek Coleman? Did you see Kobe dunk on Yao Ming? Did you see Michael Finley dunk on PJ Brown? We talked about the sport. Yeah, hit the like button. We talked about the sport. We talked about who won whose game. And people weren't just going around saying, oh, Georgia's GOAT. We actually just talked about it. But over this last 20 years of sports engineering, sports commentary, all we do is argue over opinions. We can no longer have a conversation about sports. And then what makes it even worse is I was with some people like a couple weeks ago. One of my homies brought their friend to a shindig we was at. And dude kept wanting to go into the numbers. And I'm like, look, I hated math when I was in school. Why the fuck am I going to sit around and talk about numbers over a sports show? You niggas don't know the difference between mean, mode, and median. You don't understand range. You don't understand any principles of statistics, yet you want to argue statistics. Why? Because these shows throw them in your face. Okay, what does this mean? Why am I having this conversation? Dewan, why is it so important? Dewan, you're just talking about sports debates. No, I'm not just talking about sports debates. Because that debate conversation style leaks into other areas of conversation. Because at the same time we was having that, we was having the Source magazine talk about who the greatest of all time, who the greatest rapper of all time is. So now you got this GOAT rapper debate that's starting to really bubble around the same time. We're in top 5 rapper debate, top 10. Before it was like, man, did you hear that shit? That line that Cube dropped, that new Scarface, his production is crazy. Man, Nas flowed his motherfucking ass off. That was a conversation. And it went from that to who's your top 5, who's the GOAT. Sports and hip hop. The two areas of activity black men are most engaged in. And the result is we give sports and hip hop so much energy. It's nothing left for what's really going on in real life. We are engineered to talk about a bunch of nothing. And we spend hours every day, not everybody in this room, but every male in here, every woman in here, you know men in your life that will defend LeBron James's legacy with his life, but won't have that same energy on your child being placed in special education. You won't fight that. They're trying to put a 504 plan on your kid for behavior instead of education. You won't fight that. You're disengaged. You're disengaged when there's a reparations meeting down the street and things to really be fighting about. You're disengaged. But when it comes to top 5 debates, when it comes to these sports debates, you're fully engaged. Sports media is the means of social engineering black men. That's what I'm saying. The same way the Atlanta Housewives shows are means to socially engineer black women. And the gossip shows. Social engineering doesn't stop when we get out of school. It's a constant thing. Social engineering is constant. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can watch these shows and not be engineered, but you just got to be aware that this is what's going on. And that's what I'm talking about and having this conversation today. It's about bringing awareness to the game being played right in front of our face. Once you recognize the game being played, the game can't play you. You can play it. You can be entertained by these sports gossip shows and not be socially engineered into their bullshit. As long as you're aware that's what's going on. Problem is, 90% of the people, maybe 95% of the people, are walking around unaware. Most people just go through life, and I can't get mad at them for doing so. It's a lot of stimulant in the air. It's a lot of things stimulating us, you know? It's a lot stimulating, you know? So, and it's a lot of work, you know what I mean? You got work, y'all got kids, you got traffic, you got bills to pay. So outside of those are the things that we are engaged in because we have to be engaged at work. We have to be engaged while we're driving or you'll get in a car accident. You have to be engaged in these things and paying your bills and enrolling your kids in basketball and your daughter in reading camp and whatever. You're engaged in that. So when you turn that TV on, that's the time for your mind to relax and unwind. But while your mind is relaxing and unwinding, we got to always remember that 90% of our brain activity is unconscious and subconscious. And the TV shows, the type of programming you watch, is created by the greatest social engineers the world has ever seen. Every scripted show, everything you see come through that TV is scripted. Sports, wrestling. Wrestling is just the only one that's honest. Wrestling is just the only show that's honest about what they're doing. The rest of that stuff, the imagery being used is speaking all throughout the TV show you're watching. There are messages being sent to your subconscious on how to behave socially. So if you're unaware these things are going on, that's what makes you susceptible to the programming. That's why there's such a campaign against the word woke and to change the definition of the word woke. Because if you don't change the definition of the word woke, if you keep it the way Erykah Badu intended in Master Teacher, that means you're waking up to the programming. And that's a good thing. That's why they had to shit on the word and make the word a bad thing. They didn't want you to wake up. You can't be awake. Because when you're awake, you're not going to be susceptible to the programming. So now, because the men of society spent a majority of time watching and growing up on debate shows, since the men grew up on and watched debate shows all day, everything now becomes a fight. You can no longer have a decent conversation about things, especially sports. You can't have a decent conversation because somebody's offended that your opinion is different than theirs. We see this all the time. People are hurt that, well, you don't see things the way I see them. Yeah, there used to be a time that the sports talk shows used to be entertaining, like informative. Roy Firestone, when he was on, when you could talk to the athletes and get into there was a time you could watch these sports shows and you can get into the mind of the athlete and you can see things. It was very intriguing and very engaging. It humanized the athlete because the only thing we saw them do was run up and down the court or catch a ball. So when you had people like Roy Firestone around and Stuart Scott and Bob Lee, when they would, Ramar Rashad, when they would talk to athletes, they would go more in depth about what's going on, and it was very interesting. Remember this, it was when Disney bought ESPN. It was when Disney bought ESPN. That's when this all changed. But what does Disney do, class? What is Disney best at doing? Disney is best at selling a fantasy. Snow White, that's Disney. The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. At least if it was Warner, Bugs Bunny was and Daffy Duck was shooting motherfuckers. They were just making you laugh over at Warner Brothers. And if it was the goddamn Peanuts gang that bought it, it would have been. But no, this shit got bought by Disney. The Prince and the Frog. That's Disney's bread and butter. Cinderella. So what did people think was going to happen to sports? What's the difference between Snow White and LeBron James? Whoever LeBron James is teamed with, they're always the seven dwarfs, no matter how great. Dwayne Wade, Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh, Hall of Fame. Kyrie Irving's going to the Hall of Fame. Anthony Davis is going to the Hall of Fame. When they're next to LeBron, they're the seven dwarfs. They're selling you something here. It wasn't like that with NBC. That's why I'm glad NBC is coming back and taking control of at least the Saturday game, the nationally televised Sunday games. It turned into worship. That's what happens when Disney buys sports. So, salute to Michelle Obama. A broke clock is right twice a day. And she was dead on the money with this one. She was dead on the money with this one. But this goes into what's going on socially right now, man. Pay attention. We talked about this in the cards. On Amazon here. We talked about this in the cards, didn't we? That it's about to get real violent. We're in August now. We're in August. We gotta watch what's going on socially with all this other stuff, but we also gotta watch. We also gotta watch what's going on in the world. Where's that story? There it was. This was last week.
Police are investigating.
This is last week. I know Inside Edition was sit on YouTube. I didn't know Inside Edition was sitting around. Yo, you learn something new every day. I did not know Inside Edition was sitting around. See, y'all young folks don't know. This, if you want anything gossip, you had to watch Inside Edition or hard copy back in the day. Or A Current Affair. Hey, YouTube, bring back A Current Affair in hard copy. Then we own something. Yeah, that'll get TMZ up out of here. Bring back hard copy. That'll get TMZ up out of here. Watch this.
Police are investigating after they say a city councilman from Virginia was doused with gasoline and set on fire outside his office.
What's up, guys? It's Lee Vogler. I am here at the Capitol in Richmond. It's been a long day.
Danville police say 38-year-old Lee Vogler was attacked in broad daylight by 29-year-old Shotzi Michael Buck Hayes. Investigators say the attack was not
That's a lot of fucking names.
Politically motivated, but personally motivated, as the two are known to each other. Vogler's colleagues in government say they are still shaken by the incident.
It was horribly tragic and a very unusual happening in our city. And just thinking about how awful it is for Lee and his family.
Vogler was airlifted to a hospital in North Carolina to be treated for burns. A colleague at a magazine Vogler co-owns said he was alert and talking as he was being transported. His current condition is unknown. Shotzi Michael Buck Hayes is charged with 1 count of attempted first-degree murder and is being held without bond. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
White on white crime like a motherfucker. This dude set a man on fire. He set a man on fire, y'all. And this is a councilman. This is somebody who works for the United States government. No. I think almost set that card on some water. Hell no. Hell no. Look at what's going on right now, y'all. We are in the 9 of Hearts year. Let's look at what season we in right now. Salute to Aquarius Maximus. The best website in this cardology game. 9 of Hearts. Oh yeah, we coming up on Saturn season. This is get right season. We about to be in and then we followed by a 7 of spades. That's war season. Look, man, we got to pay attention to what's going on out there. You know, watch the children around you. Watch the women around you. You see what happened in they're trying things. You saw what happened in Colorado, in Cincinnati. You see now in Cincinnati, they're trying to push it to where if you're a bystander, they're trying to change the law to where bystanders got to jump in and help. Black folks, who's gonna get convicted? If we live in a country where one of the meritorious manumission laws was to help white people if they're being attacked. That was one of the ways a slave could be freed back in the day. Now over in Cincinnati, they're talking about pushing laws that if somebody's being attacked, if you don't jump in, you could be charged. Who do you think they're going to put those charges on? We got to look at what's going on. We got to focus. That's why we got to say, hey, this is what we're talking about is why we talk about reparations. This is why we fight for reparations. Because the only way we can get on, there is no equal playing field by this law. They're never going to get, I won't say never. The laws aren't designed to help us, but when you have an economic base, when you have money behind you, you can now use that, those who are wise with their money, to fight against the system. That's why the system is so hell-bent on disconnecting us from money. Gentrification, bringing in people to take our jobs, stealing our inventions, NBA salary caps. All of that stuff is to separate us from our money. Rocky over there is snoring like a motherfucker. God damn, Rocky. Y'all see how this goes? I got some other topic I want to talk about, but I'm going to make that a different show. I might come back again tonight and talk about that other topic. But in the meantime, call in. Where's my phone number? Call in if you want to talk about this. For all you brothers that have been delivered from these bullshit-ass male gossip shows. 323-388-3315. That's what I had to stop talking sports. I don't even like talking sports no more. Niggas get too much in their feelings. It's not like that in other sports. The same person that can talk football all day, laughing and joking. I'm a Cowboy fan, you a Raiders fan, you a 49ers fan, I'm a Tampa Bay, whatever. The same person that can talk a sport like a gentleman, like football or boxing, are the same dudes the minute you talk about basketball and you say something sideways about Michael Jordan, that nigga will pull out a box cutter and be ready to slice and dice your ass. That's social engineering. What's up, Rocky? You up from your nap, homie? Yeah.
From
Otto.
What's up, Carter? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, man? Assalamu alaikum. This is Otto Choice.
Otto Choice. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, man, just representing town business as usual. I hear what you're saying. You know what I'm saying, West Coast brother, on this gossip stuff. I was never really into sports after I stopped playing sports in community college. You know what I'm saying? So I really kind of got into the ISIS papers and how the images were subliminal, you know, and you got back into talking about Disney, and we already know how Disney had all these weird, disgusting images that were subliminal in their drawings and their cartoons that we just didn't catch. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's exactly what's happening. That if you were a Disney watcher or if you were a sports watcher, you got subliminally charged with whatever energy they had behind it. And it shows. If you have this type of mentality that Disney was carving, and if you have this type of mentality that NBA and Dr. Fresh Welston, you know, saying may she rest in power, was talking about. So it's kind of hard to digest something that's toxic and get get something positive out of it. And so if you're into sports, I'm not saying don't watch it, but you better have a real good balance. You better have a real good fasting off of it to a certain degree and get into something else. And I think some of these guys are not like you. You can go from sports to music to comedy, and because these are the multiple passions that you have. And I think what you're looking at is how lame you can get if you're just connected to this one subliminal messaging industry, which is the sports industry as a whole. And as far as that second comment I wanted to say about Cincinnati saying, oh, you better help somebody who's in trouble or you could be charged in the manumission laws. I mean, just think about how many times that we saw police standing on somebody's neck. Do you really think if 2 or 3 black guys got that police officers off that's going to end right for you? They need to just say it. If you see one of us white asses getting kicked, help me, my niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's what you really want to say. Because you already know we create the Black Panthers for that reason. What are you talking about? And what did you do to the Black Panthers in Cincinnati? Stop it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to get this in writing, we're going to make sure we enforce it one way or another.
We're going to enforce it one way or another, man. But you made a good point, though, about having that balance. I appreciate that because it is. Look, there's nothing wrong with watching sports. All of us going to need some time to BS. BS is a part of life. You need that in order to get back to your real focus. You can't be 100% of the time on your focus. We all going to pick and choose where we going to spend our time to have mindless activity. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you just stay there, okay, even sports has an off season. No, they don't even play 12 months a year. So why are you talking about it that long? You know? It's like you need time off. You need time to go do something else. Hey, remember you used to have multi-sport athletes. Now let's go over here and play this game. In the summertime, we're going to be swimming. You know, because it's too hot to be hooping like that. Fall, we're going to be hooping. You know, we're going to be playing baseball. You know what I mean? And then when you're done with that, you got back into your books. You talk about girls. Do these cats even talk about girls anymore?
Bruh, you already know they switch hitting, man, so they don't mind talking about boys. You know what I'm saying? So that's the real that's the real factor. I mean, when we was in school, you was on a swimming team, a track team, and a basketball or football team because they kind of like overlapped each other, basketball and football. But you was a 3 athlete, especially if you was in the South or on the West Coast where you had good weather all the time. You was a 3 athlete person. That's why Alvin Iverson, AI, he's a 3 athlete. You know, he's a triple threat. These people who come from the regionals of good weather, you know what I'm saying? If you're in New York, I'm sorry, you only gonna be one thing. But everybody else is good at 3 things. You know what I'm saying? So you see these DMV guys and New York guys and Maryland guys, they only good at one thing, so they stay in the pocket. and we can go to every angle to being an athletic and involved in the different sports. So you're right about that, man. You know, these guys ain't multi-talented, man. They don't know all the facets. They was only in one way all the way through high school or probably preschool. As soon as they had that 8-inch, growth spurt over summer, and they just stayed right there. Them tall niggas didn't even think about volleyball or being a goalie. You know what I'm saying? They just, you would have made more money playing soccer for the UK right now than you was dribbling the basketball, but you don't know that.
Yeah, it's like, but it's even then. Like we look at the parks around the city, even the games we play is socially engineered because when they took the baseball out in the late '70s, early '80s, basketball course was what was for free, and there was football down there. And football was relatively cheaper but baseball got to be hella expensive. So we got socially engineered. Tennis is expensive, golf is expensive, and there's no access to soccer if you're in the inner city. When we grew up, there was no damn soccer teams, and if it was grown ass Mexicans playing soccer. I used to be at Dorsey High School. It'd be a whole bunch of grown ass Mexicans playing soccer, going so it wasn't no way.
That's intimidating to a young kid.
Yeah, you're like, I ain't about to
be the first generation.
That shit looks fun, but they just
tatted up playing soccer and handball on the wall. You like, I'm gonna go over here with my other.
I'm gonna hoop out here. Man, thanks for giving us a call, my brother. Now go ahead. Go ahead.
One more thing. Hey, check this out. My speaking of baseball, that used to be the sport of my grandfather's generation, right?
Yeah.
And so my grandfather was mad at my dad. My dad could do all these dunks between his legs and everything. My granddad would never come and see. This is the story from my dad's perspective. Never come and see him. He done won dunk contests in Oakland, jumping over cars, all this old weird stuff. But my grandfather was so locked into baseball. And so my grandparents owned a softball league and wanted all their kids to grow up through it, all 7 kids. And most of them did that, but my dad was like one of those first generation watching, Luke, watching the Skywalker. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to be of that era, man. So, we went from baseball to basketball. And I don't know, man.
We heard about that, man.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks for that, man. Yes, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, it's the lack of diversity in what we do. Like it's the same thing we've been engineered into hip hop. In the 70s, we was in late 60s, we was in rock. We was still doing the blues. The blues had fizzled out by the time we got to the late 60s. But we was rocking, Before that, we did some boogaloo. We did all this other stuff, discoing, funking, rhythm and bluesing, acid jazz, a much larger palette diversity of sound. Nowadays, if you talk to 7 out of 10 black men, 8 out of 10 black men about music, it's going to be a hip-hop conversation. And that's a damn shame. Because there's a renaissance going on right now in jazz music. There's a renaissance going on in rhythm and blues right now. There's a renaissance in country western right now. There's a renaissance in blues music right now. You got a renaissance in Southern soul going on right now. And at the same time, why in the hell do they get to make all the money in the house music when we created that too? We really whittled down what we're into, and that's not good because we're a diverse group of people. We're a very diverse group of people, diverse interests. Thank you, Stephanie, for the Cash App. Much appreciated. Reggie, thank you for the Cash App. Much appreciated. AH, thank you for the Cash App. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
To accept, press 1. To send
there we go. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from? You there?
Oh, yeah, the one B. What's up, bro?
What's up, brother? What's on your mind?
Man, hey, man. You know, I check in from time to time. I'm over here with you, man. Oceanside, in Cali, man.
Yes,
down south a little bit. You know, I'm from Memphis originally. And I'm glad you be schooling them on this music thing, man. I'm from the South. I'm from Memphis, born and raised. My granddad, everybody from the South, as I'm sure you know, that came from Mississippi, bro. So, you know, and at one time, all this shit was Mississippi. All the way to Florida. No, this way before white got for us. My granddad used to tell me all this. My grandfather was in World War II. He was too young to go first time, from World War. Man, he saved his whole battalion, and he saved some small hats, and he got a Purple Heart, and I got it right now. And I'm patriotic. Man, my dad, he painted my whole entire room United States flag. So, at my security guard job, dude, I'm a supervisor. I'm at work right now. And I wear the American flags on my hat and my shirts just to see. I've been doing case study just like you, bro. Just to see what they be saying. And do you know what, bro? They won't say one damn word. Because when it's American flag sticking you in your eyes and your face and your chest, because what I don't like is they wear the flag on their cars. It's all upside down. It's pure black. I don't get it. It's like, y'all don't care shit about this country, bro. Period. And this ties right back into what you're talking about. Bro, I stopped watching sports talk a long time ago, man, because I noticed something. They don't bag on nothing but the brothers.
Yeah.
So it's the ancestors and the energy of the ancestors just picking these clowns right now. And like you said with the cards, it's going to continue to happen. So, bro, I'm not going to take up too much time. I appreciate what you do, black man to black man. Peace, baby.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks. You have a good one. He's right. He's right, you know. That's another reason why I stopped. All they do is use those shows to berate black men. I noticed when I would watch, I started to really pay attention. It took me about 10 years to stop watching when I first noticed. I first noticed when Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson were on the same team. Was it Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson? Oh, no, it was Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson, when they were both the pitchers for the Arizona Diamondbacks when they won that World Series. And I noticed I never saw them compare the two and contrast the two the same way they were doing Shaq and Kobe. Because as a Laker fan, every time you turned, this before it even got to ESPN, but this was when even back when it was still on NBC, there was always stories about Shaq and Kobe. Shaq not getting along, Kobe. And all the time it was a story about Shaq and Kobe. Y'all remember the Best Damn Sports Show with Tom Arnold and Michael Irvin and DeMarco Farr and Chris Conner? I think not Chris Conner, the other guy who's still over at Fox. Y'all remember that show? Every day they was always trying to draw a wedge between Shaq and Kobe. And the reason why I noticed that, because we talking 2001, I'm in Santa Monica College at that time, and I'm taking classes on propaganda. I'm taking classes on psychology and how, you know, but mostly propaganda, how propaganda is used. And I'm watching this whole thing. I'm like, man, they always talking about Shaq and Kobe, but they never talk about Randy Johnson and Roger Clemens. Kurt Schilling. And I was like, that's odd. Then I noticed further as time went along, now you get to ESPN. Now the sports gossip shows come. It's Cold Pizza before it was First Take. It was a show called Cold Pizza with Dana Jacobson, and they had that show Cold Pizza. Then it was you started to get Pardon Interruption and Around the Horn with Max Kellerman. I probably saw every single episode of Around the Horn with Max Kellerman. I'm in college, and when I was in college, I always did my classes between 7 a.m. My last class would always be 12:30. So by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'm home. So I watched every episode of Pardon Interruption, of Around the Horn, probably the first 1,000 episodes of both shows. And I noticed there was still always a fight. Who's Kobe Bryant? Is he as good as Jordan? And I'm like, why? And I love Kobe, but why ain't y'all talking about Magic? At the time, Kobe only had 3 rings. Magic still had 5. And I'm sitting there thinking like, why ain't nobody talking about Magic? I personally still would take Magic over Jordan. Till this day, I would take Magic over Jordan. But I'm like, what about Magic? You know what I mean? Now I just ask these questions in my mind. But then I would watch the same show talk about football, and they found a way to make Peyton Manning and Tom Brady great. This is back when they was having their run. Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. And whenever they would talk Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, they would always frame Peyton Manning, Tom Brady conversation in a way that both men looked great. When they would compare Elway to Montana to Marino, they did it in a way that all the men looked great. But when they talk about Jordan or LeBron, Shaq or Kobe, one person got to get ripped to shreds. Why is it that one person got to get ripped to shreds in basketball? But when you talk NASCAR, Bubba Wallace and Dale Earnhardt could be great. You know what I mean? Jeff Gordon and whatever other redneck could be great. They never argued Brian Urlacher or Dick Butkus when they would talk about the Chicago Bears. Dick Butkus was great. Brian Urlacher was great. Both got to be great. King Shaw shows how little you know about basketball. Magic got drafted to a team that didn't make the fucking playoffs. Jesus. See, there we go. These sports shows, people don't even look up sports. And the Lakers were extremely mediocre when they drafted Magic. Kareem was hurt. Kareem was on Lakers for 5 years and did nothing. Magic come, boom, champions as a rookie. King Shaw, I'm going to need y'all. If y'all going to talk sports to me, I'm not no Stephen A. Smith. I got a motherfucking encyclopedia in my mind when it comes to sports. Wasn't no already complete team. No, it wasn't. If they were a complete team, why weren't they making deep playoff runs in the late 70s? And Kareem was old. Kareem retired in '85. The only reason why Kareem kept playing was because his house got burned down and his accountant took all of his money. If Kareem's house didn't get burned down and if his accountant didn't take all of his money, Kareem would not have been around for 87 and 88. He was retired. When they won that back-to-back, Kareem was a shell of himself. He couldn't even get back on. He couldn't even run with the team. Kareem had to play offense or defense. He couldn't do both. Magic still won a championship with him. 2. So stop it. They got the early pick because it was a flip of a coin. There was no lottery. The draft lottery came in 1985. Patrick Ewing was the first player drafted during the lottery system. Before then, there was a different way of getting the first pick of the draft. And there was a flip of a coin that landed the Lakers first. Y'all need to learn that's another thing. We got 24 hours of basketball coverage on ESPN. And these people, no disrespect for y'all, but y'all don't know a goddamn thing about the context of the sport. It's always, look at the numbers. And that's Stephen A. Smith's fault. I don't blame y'all in the chat. Blame him. And his producers. And Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright and Skip Bayless. No, it's about the numbers. The numbers say this person's the greatest and that person's the greatest. Nigga, do you know that when the Lakers was winning championships in the 80s, they had to take flights on smoke-filled commercial airlines? Do y'all know that? Do y'all know that? I remember watching those NBA commercials. My dad's about to get the VHS tapes when the Lakers won the championship. When they would show those sports games back in the day, you would see them catching commercial flights. And that was back in the days people could smoke cigarettes in the airplane. So these cats was taking smoke-filled airplanes in between games.
For the first time.
And you're comparing their numbers to people who caught a private jet between games. It's no comparison. You can't just look at the numbers. You got to look at the full context as to what was going on. They say, well, Magic had Kareem. Well, Kareem was also old. If Magic had 1973 Kareem, Magic would have won 8 championships. Hold on, let me get Rocky. 1 second. Hold on. Rocky thought, my wife left. Rocky thought he was by himself. He like, where everybody at? I'm like, I'm in here, homie. You good? You good, homie? You straight? Tell the people what's up. Here we go. So, just look at the chat room right now. Chat room. I mean, other people in the chat that aren't arguing. Look at those in the chat who are. And I'm not blaming the people in the chat. Well, some blame, but this is the result of what Michelle Obama was talking about. It's nothing but the Real Housewives. It's arguing. We have been socially engineered to argue. Nobody understands. And if you try to introduce context to the situation, people get mad. Man, that still don't matter. I don't care. Jordan's still the greatest. And then tomorrow, they're going to have the same conversation. And then the next day, we're going to have the same conversation. And we've been having this Jordan, the GOAT debate argument now forever, and nobody's moved an inch. Not the Jordan side, not the LeBron side, not the Kobe side. Nobody's ever going to move an inch. What's up, Star? Hit the Cash App. Cats don't even know how to talk to each other no more. It's no conversation. And like I told y'all before, the GOAT debate is a Nike debate. But remember, the Nike is who controls a lot of the NBA's marketing. If you're going to give a fair, assessed argument, the only way Jordan can be the GOAT is if you remove Kareem, Wilt, Russell out of the conversation. Jordan's not the GOAT based on his own metrics. Or if the metric is championships, well, Bill Russell's the GOAT if the metric is championships. Oh, you want to talk about dominance of an era? Well, Will Chamberlain was far more dominant, and Kareem, so was Kareem. Kareem faced more Hall of Fame centers than Jordan faced Hall of Fame shooting guards. If you're gonna keep it a buck, Kareem was at the top during the era of the center, where the best players in basketball were centers. Wes Unseld, Walt Bellamy, Moses Malone. Back in those days, Kareem rose above them all. In Jordan's day, the dominant shooting guard was Craig Elo. Joe Dumars was great, but who's ever put Joe Dumars in the GOAT conversation at any time ever outside of Detroit? His biggest he played against Clyde Drexler twice a year, Reggie Miller came around later. He had Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, Mitch Richmond. Those are the Hall of Fame shooting guards that Jordan had to play against during his prime. Mitch Richmond, West, never got on a good team. Clyde Drexler was great, but he never had the right team around him, and neither did Reggie Miller. Neither Reggie Miller nor Clyde Drexler had all-star teammates. Hall of Fame level teammates. Terry Porter was a sometime all-star. Yeah, Joe Dumars is Hall of Fame technically. But you know why Joe Dumars is Hall of Fame? It was because he kicked Michael Jordan's ass 3 years in a row. Jordan only beat Dumars once. Ain't no fucking GOAT. Jordan's the best player of the 90s. Jordan is the best player of the 90s. And that's as far as I'll take it. Joe Dumars used to beat Michael Jordan's ass. But we can't talk about that. Because what is a Jordan fan going to say when you talk about that? Well, Jordan's team wasn't good enough. Okay. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. The Phoenix Suns weren't better than the Bulls, so they weren't going to beat them. The Indiana Pacers just weren't good enough to beat the Bulls. They didn't have enough all-stars. Patrick Ewing, the Knicks just weren't good enough. It was just Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing didn't have another Hall of Famer on his team. Had Patrick Ewing had an all-star Hall of Fame level guard, mind you, John Starks only made it because he's on the Knicks. He had 2 seasons where he was an inconsistent. John Starks had 3 years of inconsistent basketball. When he was hot, but when he wasn't, he was fucked up. And he fucked them out of that championship, shooting all them goddamn shots in Game 7 of the 1994 NBA Finals. That's the best you got? Jordan beat the teams he was better than, lost to the teams he wasn't. The 95 Orlando Magic were better than the Bulls. The Bulls, they didn't have Horace Grant, and they didn't have Dennis Rodman yet. Horace Grant left. Dennis Rodman wasn't there yet. That made the Orlando Magic a slightly better team than the Bulls, because Orlando Magic went 5 deep in the all-star lineup. So Jordan lost. Jordan was a great player, but y'all niggas put way too many extras on it. What's up, Carter? What's your name? Where you calling from? I guess they hung up. Jordan was a great player. He was just the best player of his time. That's all. That is all. That is all. Best player of his day. That next generation that came after, then you had some pretty big shooting guards. Kobe had to play against 6'6", 6'7" shooting guards. 6'10" shooting guards. T-Mac was a 6'10" shooting guard. Ray Allen, 6'6". J.R. Ryder. Bonzi Wells. These are the names you novices have forgotten, but these were great players at the time. You know, Kobe didn't have the luxury of playing against Jeff Hornacek. He had to be guarded by Bruce Bowen, not Jeff Hornacek. You know? Grant Hill, Sean Marion. These life-size shooting guards. Yeah, Gatino Mobley. You had, there was a lot of yeah. Kobe had to face teams that was deep, like the 2000 Blazers. 2000 Blazers had 2 starting lineups. Minnie Mouse, Greg Anthony, Brian Grant, Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, Scottie Pippen, Arvydas Sabonis, Jermaine O'Neal. Had to play against the Kings. Had to play against the Spurs. Yeah, Steve Smith. Jordan never had to play against no goddamn 2000, no team nearly as good as the 2000 Blazers. He didn't have to compete against a team that stacked. People like to forget that. Well, Shaq won Finals MVP. Well, nigga, the Finals was against Portland. Them Indiana Pacers wasn't shit. Lakers was going to win that regardless. You beat them 2000 Blazers, you beating anybody. But that's what happens when you're having the Jordan GOAT debate. The minute you expand the conversation past 6 rings, now it's not as clear. But as long as you talk about Jordan, Nike wins. And Nike owns the basketball conversation because Nike dictates how the NBA markets itself. So the NBA markets itself around Nike athletes. So bad. The reason why Steph Curry didn't win, first off, there was no Olympic MVP. Nike created the Olympic MVP award, by the way. Go back to 2016, 2012, 2008, 4, 2000, 96, 92, 88, 84. You're not going to find an Olympic MVP. Nike just created that award this year. And although we all saw with our own eyes, Steph Curry deserved that because the United States loses 2 of those games if Steph Curry don't work his magic. Steph Curry's not with Nike, so he can't win the award. We all saw Jaylen Brown and Kyrie Irving be passed over for the Olympic team. Why? Because they're not on Nike. Somebody said, mad. Who the fuck is mad? First off, you should be mad your hairline is that far back and you haven't decided to cut your hair yet. Let it go. Let's start off with that. Get that Maurice White hairline out of here. Second off, the 91 Lakers didn't even belong in the finals. Vlade fucking Divac was the starting center. James Worthy was hurt. We were just happy that goddamn team got that far. That team sucked. Ain't no flex. Lakers didn't have Kareem and Michael Cooper. They was retired. That team got to the finals with Vlade Divac. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, this is proof of what I'm talking about here. You got this man, Kid Cash, who is the normal in the chat. Salute to you, Kid Cash. But your Stephen A. Smith hairline got you saying Stephen A. Smith style comments right now, brother. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Everybody in here talking about Jordan. You were lied to. Don't get mad at me. You were sold a bill of goods.
Robert.
So some shoes can be sold.
To accept.
And we're going to keep talking about it because let me tell you something. If you want to know you're being lied to, keep talking. A lie has to be defended every single day. The truth just is. If Jordan was the GOAT, we wouldn't need to fucking talk about it all day. Baseball people, for the most part, consider Babe Ruth the GOAT. So when you watch a baseball conversation, they don't have to bring up Babe Ruth every time they talk about O'Shauntie. They don't have to bring up Babe Ruth every time they talk about Barry Bonds. They don't have to bring up Babe Ruth every time they talk about Ken Griffey Jr. or anybody else. Because the consensus is Babe Ruth is the GOAT. So why keep talking about it? You socially engineered ass niggas. What's up, Carter? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Dewan? This Rob from Chicago. What's happening, bro?
What's up, Rob? What's on your mind, brother?
Man, what you just said, man. See, here's the thing. See, I was a very youngster during the time of the Bulls run, during that time in the 90s and everything. First of all, Chicago always been a football town. Okay, there's always been a Chicago Bears town. So all this Jordan stuff, listen, I was a Jordan fan, of course. All of us was. Whoever grew up here in Chicago, we all was Jordan fans. But we can be watching live games of the Bulls playing any team, don't matter what team. And we could see that Jordan is getting all these calls that he didn't deserve and earn. Like, that's not a foul. I'm talking about we watching these games live.
Yeah.
But it always goes back to what you always say about the capital M marketing scheme with a capital M. That it was always, now at the time, of course, being young, we didn't really understand this. We just like, man, that is not a foul. They just giving this dude because he went up, made a spectacular behind the head play some beautiful dunk he did in the play. Like, what? I didn't even touch this guy. But again, marketing. Okay, so I had to catch myself later on because I'm like, wait a minute, this guy is not, because, you know, as youngsters, we had that conversation. Man, he the greatest of all time, greatest of all time. But I can also remember the conversations coming up of Bill Russell. And I'm like, man, okay, I started scratching my head like, okay, something wrong here. And it still wasn't registering right away because we used to have those conversations too the next day, like you said earlier in the broadcast, where we'll come to school, go to school or whatever like that. And we're not even talking about Chicago. We're talking about a dunk, something that happened on somebody in a whole nother game, or, man, did you see this game? Did you see that game? That's what our conversations really was based on until it got to the playoffs. And, of course, you know, the teams are narrow. So, of course, we're talking about our team, but we still talking about the other teams that's in it who we could possibly have a hard time against during that time.
Yeah, you talking matchups, that kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. So we weren't just zoomed in on the Bulls and Michael Jordan. And I would just speak for my particular circle, because I know in my circle that we hung out in, most of us was like that. And so when this guy retired, it was stupid of him to come back, in my personal opinion, until I caught on in, what year was that he came back, 2001?
Yeah.
02, I believe it was. And I'm like, wait a minute. I said, they still marketing this guy. Not really understand what I said, but understanding it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, what? what is this dude doing back? For you to retire the way you did the last shot against Utah, to go out like that, go out as a champ, like, wait a minute, this guy not coming back playing for no rings because he know damn well they ain't got a shot. And I say this is all marketing. So all that Jordan stuff, that 91 Bulls versus Lakers, listen, I was a young kid and I knew we had a shot at it because from what I understood during that time, man, they ain't got Kareem. They ain't going nowhere. And Magic, listen, what you said, I used to feel like that about Magic back in the day. Mm-hmm. I used to love Magic Johnson. Everybody, man, I'm like, man, I like Magic Johnson too. Magic Johnson is
Magic fans still like Jordan. You know what I mean? Jordan fans, Magic, people forget how big Magic was. Now,
man, Magic was huge.
Jordan had, Magic was a natural attraction to the NBA. Jordan was pushed. And if anyone ever talked, all you have to do, if people think I'm bullshitting, is listen to David Falk talk. David Falk is a former agent, had plenty of these conversations and that you can still find, where that was a marketing plan between David Stern, Nike, David Falk, and Jordan, because Magic Johnson was the first pick, but Magic Johnson wasn't going to sign his name and likeness over to Nike. He was cool with Converse. And so they had to engineer Jordan into us, something that Magic was doing naturally, something that Dr. J before Magic did naturally.
Yeah. Oh, because that also goes into all of those documentaries that they start making, them Jordan documentaries that Come Fly With Me, that Michael Jordan airtime. I think he had like 2 more after that. I think it was involved. Yeah, all that after that, that's when all the documentaries started getting pushed heavy, very heavy. So, man, I agree 1,000%, especially with the knowledge that I have today. Because when I ran into this channel and you was talking about a lot of that stuff, I'm like, man, he remind me so much of how we used to be back in the day. But your knowledge is way more crisp and expanded than what ours ever was. Because I'm like, we was there a little bit, but no, you breaks it down. I'm talking about like dissect it to where I understand everything that you say about the game is. It's nothing to really debate. You know, you got the people that come in and try to debate this and debate that. Man, don't worry about them, Dwan. Just keep that elbow on them, and they good, bro. So I just want to come in and state that real quick, man. Appreciate you, family.
For sure, man. Thanks for calling. Yeah, man. Y'all, we gotta know, man, that all this shit is social engineering. Like the reason why, and the main reason why I can speak so confidently on Jordan is because if those of you who were around in the 80s and the early 90s, you remember that Jordan was on WGN and Dominique Wilkins was on TNT. And you got to see Jordan and Neek. There was no NBA League Pass. And the only time you got to see any team other than your home team was on Sunday NBC or CBS. CBS, then NBC. Outside of Sunday NBC, you only saw your local team unless you had cable. And if you had cable, you saw Dominique Wilkins, you saw Jordan. If you go back to the late 80s, they were neck and neck on the highlight reel. If Jordan had dropped 40, Dominique dropped 38. If Dominique dropped 38, Jordan dropped 37. And this was 8 out of 10 nights. It was like a hit. It was like Jordan and Neek, but Jordan had the marketing push. Neek didn't. Jordan got Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen. Dominique Wilkins got Doc Rivers. You see the difference? Dominique Wilkins got Doc Rivers. Jordan got Scottie Pippen. And then the Come Fly With Me videos. Marketing. And then back in the day, people all say Jordan rules. Yeah, the Pistons had rules for everybody. There were Magic rules, there were Worthy rules, there were Bird rules, and there were Jordan rules. The difference is David Stern stepped in and made it to where You couldn't touch Jordan. Now, everybody else was getting the people's elbow drop from Charles Oakley. The Knicks couldn't play Jordan the way they played everybody else. The Knicks could not play Jordan the way they played Reggie Miller. The reason why the Knicks kept beating Reggie Miller because they got to hold, hack, grab, push, wrestle Reggie Miller. But when Jordan came, hands off. He was socially engineered to be your GOAT. And you use bullshit-ass shows like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless to keep driving home that lie. The same way LeBron was socially engineered to the top. Let's give LeBron every piece that he needs. Let's give him adequate, great shooting. Let's give LeBron great rebounding. Let's give him 2 other Hall of Fame level stars. Let's make sure his team is stacked against whoever he's playing against. And if he loses, we're going to blame the team and not him. Social engineering like a motherfucker. So if you're one of the people that are socially engineered, that's cool. But don't argue with me, all right? Because I'm going to take you into deep water and I promise you, you can't swim that good. MJ the GOAT is a cliche that people just repeat. It's not true. Tell a lie loud enough, long enough, it becomes the truth to those who submit to it. I just don't submit. Because I saw most of Jordan's career. I didn't just watch the highlights. I'm a basketball fiend. My brother was a huge Jordan fan. So from 86, 87 on, man, I saw almost every I saw the Tuesday night. It was Jordan's games was on like at 4:30 West Coast time, or 4 o'clock West Coast time. As soon as we got home from school, Jordan's games was on. And then when 5 o'clock West Coast time come, that's when Video Soul would come on. And we would flip back and forth between watching Jordan and watching Video Soul. Oh shit, Whitney Houston got a new video. Let's watch this shit. I'm your baby tonight. All right, cool. Let's turn back to Jordan. That was my childhood. Oh shit, it's a new video. Guy got a new video. All right, let's turn back to Jordan. So I'm not one of these niggas that was just watching on Sunday. Or worse yet, most of you niggas didn't even watch. Y'all just listen to repeat what people say and watch highlight reels. I know how great Jordan is. But I also know the environment around his greatness was socially engineered. That's why he said he was born in 88. Yeah. There's a lot of people born in 88 and born in 90. And there were people born in like 1986, 1995 arguing with me over who's the greatest. Like, what are you talking about? You was born in 95. Shut up. But I grew up watching Kobe play too. And I saw all of Kobe's games. I started paying close attention to Magic in 85, 86. I saw mostly all of Magic's games after 86. That's the only thing my dad was going to be watching. I saw all of Kobe's games. I saw all of both of them. And then when it comes to Kobe, most niggas that talk against Kobe y'all niggas was living on the East Coast. Stop it. Laker games was coming on at 10:30 at night. Laker games, most of you niggas was sleep with a thumb in your mouth when Kobe was dropping 46 points against the Portland Trailblazers on a random Tuesday night. Y'all don't even know. Y'all weren't even watching the games. Y'all wasn't even watching the games. Most people talking shit about Kobe. You niggas lived on the East Coast. Stop it. The overwhelming majority of these games, you niggas will sleep with a thumb in your mouth. You didn't even watch the nigga play. So y'all really need to kick rocks. If you from the East Coast, if you in the Eastern time zone, Central time zone, which is 90% of you niggas talking shit. If you was in Eastern and Central time, you wouldn't even watch no goddamn game. Shut up. See, here out West, we got the advantage. Because we can watch East Coast game. We can watch the Chicago Bulls because they was coming on at 4 or 5 o'clock our time. That's right when we getting on from school. Nigga, it was watching the Bulls and doing homework was a tradition. You know how many goddamn tests I failed because I wasn't paying attention to my shit because I was watching Michael Jordan play? And then as soon, no, Jordan did not dethrone L.A. AIDS dethroned L.A. You stupid motherfucker. AIDS. Magic Johnson had AIDS. Magic would have bounced back with a better team. And let me tell you something, you Chicagoans. The Lakers had just won 5 fucking championships. You know what happens after you win 5 championships? You lose. And it's time to retool. The difference is the Lakers retooled and got back good again a few years later. The Bulls are still ain't done shit since last century. That's the difference. Y'all like y'all saying something. Oh, they ended it. No, nigga. Really, who ended it was Detroit. The same niggas that was whooping y'all ass. The run was over. Niggas had to retire. Time for somebody new. You think we give a fuck? We spent the whole 80s winning championships? Okay. We bounced right back and won some more. Where y'all at, Chicago? Still talking about Jordan. See, on the West Coast, we got to see the East Coast games, and then the minute Jordan was done playing, all right, cool, time to watch the real game. Magic about to come on. Magic and Eldon Campbell, them years. When Magic was still getting them niggas to the finals with Eldon Campbell and Vlade Divac. Then the Bulls' time came, and remember this, the Bulls' time came during one of the worst eras in NBA history. Why? The Bulls' era came with expansion. 1988-89, the Miami Heat joined the NBA. The Orlando Magic joined the NBA. The Minnesota Timberwolves joined the NBA. The Charlotte Hornets joined the NBA. 4 new teams in 2 years. So that spread the talent. So while Jordan had 2 Hall of Famers, him and Pippen, along with Horace Grant, who was one of the top power forwards in the game at that time, Reggie Miller had no Hall of Fame teammate. Patrick Ewing had no Hall of Fame teammate. Clyde Drexler had no Hall of Fame teammate. Jordan was playing big bank, take little bank, because although there were a bunch of great players in the NBA, there were no great teams. Because 4 new teams that just came in and the talent pool expanded. No, the Vancouver Grizzlies and Toronto Raptors came in 1995 or 96. 95, 96. That was later. That was the second Bulls championship run. The first Bulls championship run came after 4 new teams. The second Bulls championship run came after 2 new teams, further dispersing the talent pool. So you didn't have concentrated good teams. So when they played against the Seattle Sonics, Gary Payton, 1 Hall of Famer, Michael Jordan, 3 Hall of Famers. Now, I do believe Sean Kemp should be in the Hall of Fame. So I'll count Sean Kemp because I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But even if you count Sean Kemp, who's not in the Hall of Fame, still 3 Hall of Famers versus 2. Utah, 2 Hall of Famers, Malone and Stockton, versus 3. It was socially engineered for Jordan to dominate. It was engineered for Jordan to dominate. But when Jordan faced those 95 Magic, Shaq Hall of Fame, Penny should be Hall of Fame, Dennis Scott in his prime, Nick Anderson in his prime, Jordan got his ass beat. Oh, man, no. Jordan was rusty. Man, Jordan just dropped 55 points against the Knicks. No, the fuck he wasn't. He got his ass beat. Because the Orlando Magic were better. He was not rusty. He didn't have Horace Grant. That's why he lost. He didn't have Dennis Rodman. That was the year between Horace Grant and Dennis Rodman. That's why he lost. His team wasn't good enough. He finally faced a team that was stacked. The one time the Jordan Bulls faced a stacked team, they got their ass beat. You Jordan dick suckers can never get past that. The minute Jordan faced a team that was stacked like his team was stacked, he got his ass beat. Got his ass beat. And the Bulls were still good when Jordan left the year before. If goddamn Ronnie Nunn makes that call, they still would have beat the Knicks. They damn near beat the Knicks without Jordan. It was a bad call by Ronnie Nunn that stopped the Bulls from beating the Knicks without Jordan. Fuck out of here. Shit. I saw these motherfuckers play. You can't argue with me, but again, that goes back into this social engineering. You guys are socially engineered. Just accept it. It's okay. Jordan can still be your favorite. That's fine. If Jordan's your favorite, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. If you're going to have a favorite player of all time, Michael Jordan is he's one of the best favorite players of all time to have. But that GOAT shit, social engineering. And the longer we talk about who's the greatest, the less we're talking about what's constructive. Plan worked. I'm just here today to bring highlight to the bullshit so that we can understand that we're under propaganda. So we're still making this a constructive conversation. And LeBron James, he's not in my top 10. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. How in the hell do you get a stacked team 15 years of your career and you only walk away with 4 goddamn championships? For 15 years, you got every piece you needed. At least 3 shooters, a great rebounder, 4 good wing defenders, 2 starting, 2 coming off the bench. The top level role players from Richard Jefferson to Eric Snow, these are the best of role players. Mike Miller, Shane Battier, role players, Wally Zerbiak, that everywhere they played, they were great role players. You had all these goddamn players, everything you need. Can you imagine if goddamn Jason Kidd, imagine Jason Kidd for 15 seasons, Jason Kidd had 2 knockdown shooters in the corner, a big that can pick and pop, a power forward that can pick and slip and rebound, and as great as a defender as Jason Kidd was, the other 4 players on the court being good defenders. Imagine Jason Kidd with that many Hall of Famers. I have no doubts if Jason Kidd has that many Hall of Famers for 15 seasons, Jason Kidd wins at least 8. Can you imagine Jason Kidd with Anthony Davis, Kevin? I mean, god damn. Jason Kidd with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? What? What? I told y'all it was coming. You're a hater. More of this social engineering. You say something outside this small fragmented box they've been socially engineering you to, you're a hater. You better learn who the fuck Jason Kidd is, nigga, and stop talking about hating. You can't be a top 10 player and have that many top 75 players and only have 4 championships. Something isn't adding up. Okay, you're the greatest, fine. Well, you've had all these top 75 players, and that's all you won? One thing is wrong. Something's off there. Something's off there. Something's not adding up. You're right. Jason Kidd couldn't shoot when he came in the league. Neither could LeBron, said. The difference is Jason Kidd couldn't shoot, and he retired with the top 5 3-pointers made. Did you know that? Again, they're so quick to call you a hater. They don't know. This dude is tripping over his own feet in his own argument. LeBron couldn't shoot either when he came into the league. But like Jason Kidd, LeBron later on developed the shot. The difference is Jason Kidd had a shot by his 5th season. LeBron didn't really have a shot until his 11th or 12th season. Jason Kidd developed his shot faster than LeBron developed his shot. But you got to know basketball to know this. LeBron did have Shaquille O'Neal. What are you talking about? Shaq was an All-Star the previous year with Steve Nash in 2008. I was at that All-Star game. Again, yes, Shaq did it. LeBron did have Shaq. Yes, he did. You also had Dwayne Wade. This dude's just, I'm stumbling. And you know what else Jason Kidd did? He beat LeBron James' ass in the finals. Oh, it's so easy with you bronsexuals. How in the hell did Jason Kidd beat him in 2011 then? As an old Jason Kidd, that wasn't even 2000. That was post-microfracture surgery Jason Kidd. And Jason Kidd was guarding LeBron James in the 4th quarter. Do you remember that? Yeah. Did we forget? Did we forget that old Jason Kidd was guarding LeBron? He actually beat the nigga. Oh, this is so easy. This is so easy. It's so easy because you guys have been so socially engineered into arguing and debating. You never opened the book and researched or listened or watched the game. LeBron lost to Tim Duncan, the prime Tim Duncan one time, and lost to old Tim Duncan one time. Tim Duncan was only playing 25 minutes a night when he lost that second. They had no business losing that to the Spurs with the Miami Heat. No business at all. Kobe used to smack these niggas around. Kobe used to smack Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili around. What? Bah! 2008, the Spurs had the better team than the Lakers. Kobe came in with just Pau Gasol. Bynum was injured, wasn't playing. Came with Tim Duncan. Bah! Get out of here, bitch. 2001, the Spurs were the favorites over the Lakers. Tim Duncan and David Robinson. 1 year removed from a championship. Vegas picked the Spurs to win. The Spurs had home court advantage. Kobe came in. Bop! 4-game sweep, nigga. Bop, 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 bop. Bop! Kobe smacked Tim Duncan around. How do you go from underdog to the biggest point discrepancy in Western Conference Finals history? 2001 NBA playoffs. Look it up. There is no GOAT. There is no GOAT, people. There is no GOAT. At best, you could say this player was the best player from that decade or that generation. Or you could say this player was the best small forward of that time. That player was the best power forward of that time. That's the best you're going to do in the GOAT debate. When you get past that, it's a bunch of bullshit. You can't compare generations. There is no GOAT. Jokic can't get these kind of numbers in the 90s. Why? Because the rules, the hand-checking rule, the freedom of motion rules, it won't allow that much cutting and stuff for you to get all of these assists. It's the reason why the freedom of motion rule changed in 2016. In 2017, Russell Westbrook was the first person to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson. It literally, these assist numbers went through the roof when the rules changed. So how in the hell can you compare generations and then try to do it based off numbers when the rules dictate how those numbers are got? Social engine, these shows. These shows. There is no GOAT. Magic's my favorite player of all time. Kobe and Magic and Kobe are 1-1. It's my two favorite players of all time. Kobe's the most skilled player of all time. We can measure skill. And without a doubt, Kobe's the most skilled player of all time. Left hand, right hand, left shoulder, right shoulder. The 3-level scoring on all 3 levels of offense, dribbling ability, post footwork, drop step ability. Things we can actually measure. We can tangibly measure skill. But that's only if you know basketball. If you only know numbers, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But even that doesn't matter. Jordan was more athletic than Kobe. LeBron's more athletic than Jordan and Kobe. So it comes down to what you like. Is the athleticism and the ability to run back and forth what you think the GOAT is? If it's the athleticism and the aesthetic, it's probably going to be LeBron. If your point of view is skill, it's going to be Kobe and Jordan. If your point of view is dominance, it's going to be Wilt or Shaq. If it's going to be longevity, legacy, it's going to be Kareem. If it's going to be excitement and dynamics, it's going to be Magic. If it's going to be three-point shooting ability and excitement, it's going to be Steph. No, Kyrie's not the most skilled of all time. Kyrie would laugh at you if you said that. Have you ever seen Kyrie hit Kobe's reverse pivot from the elbow? Do you even know where the elbow is on the court? Kyrie would laugh at you if you said that. Oh, he's not. He's up there, though. Show me Kyrie. Show me Kyrie in the post. Now, does Kyrie have a better handle than Kobe? Yeah, Kyrie got a better handle than Kobe. He don't have Kobe's post footwork. No, he doesn't. Show me games where Kyrie dominated on the box. He doesn't. That's not part of his arsenal. He can. He can play. Kyrie can hit a player or two off the box, but he can't dominate a game from the box. He can't dominate the game from the box. And when he does get it in the box, he faces up. He doesn't do it back to the basket. Very rarely does Kyrie do it back to the basket. If Kyrie gets the ball in the post, he's going to catch it. He's going to do an inside pivot, jab, and he's going to go right back into a face-up game, which is great. But Kobe could do that and play back to the basket and finish over both shoulders. Yeah. Just because you're in the post don't mean you're posting up. And Kyrie does have a decent post game. And when it comes to skill, Kyrie doesn't have Kobe's footwork on defense. That's another skill. Defensive skill. Sliding your feet without fouling. How to cheat. How to play screens. How to slip screens. All that's part of the skill set. Who was getting around screens better than Kobe? You couldn't screen Kobe on defense. Kobe knew how to, he had the footwork to where no matter who was setting those screens, he wasn't going to get caught up. That's a skill. Knowing how to dip your shoulder and slip over a screen. Knowing how to give a negative step on defense and cut the offense off. That's a skill. These are all things you got to work on. You're not born with these things. You got to go to the gym and work on this shit every single day. This dude, well, but you must have got here late. He said social engineering is one thing, but these cats were on TV back then. ... You thought you ate with that. I literally just talked about how Michael Jordan was him and Dominique Wilkins were the only people on national TV every game. Because Michael Jordan was on WGN. And if you had cable, you got to see Michael Jordan play. And he was the only person you got to see play. We didn't get to see Isaiah Thomas play. Unless he was playing against Jordan or the Lakers. We didn't get to see Mitch Richmond like that. We got to see Jordan. Jordan was on everybody's TV who had cable. Yeah, Kobe's the most complete player ever. Yeah. But if he's not your GOAT, that's fine. You'll never hear me argue with somebody. Why ain't Kobe your GOAT? I don't give a fuck who your GOAT is. Just don't step on my feet. No, this is what it really is. Shut up. But there is no GOAT. It comes down to what you value. What you value is going to determine who your favorite player is. But just because somebody's your favorite player, it does not mean that they're the GOAT. That's just your favorite player. Kobe's just my favorite player. Magic is just my favorite player. Doesn't mean that either of them is the GOAT. If you think Isaiah Thomas is the GOAT, you're right. Because he gave you whatever you value. I ain't about to argue with you. Kareem, Shaq, I'm a Laker guy. Shaq, Kareem, Kobe and Shaq, Kobe and Magic are one, and Kareem and Shaq are two. Those are my four favorite players. All right? But it comes from this bullshit ass, socially engineered sports housewife talk. I've been talking way longer than I planned. I got shit to do, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. We out.